Here we go. Hi, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and today I'm meeting a new friend on the playground named Bill. And Bill is a friend of Nancy Jean, and he's met with Jimmy. And so the delight of bringing specific stories here to the playground is, it just makes me light up. So welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. And we agreed that perhaps there might be a little animal card that would want to join us as we start our conversation. So what I'm going to do is knock out the old energy, and from my heart, breathe in and ask which animal would like to join Bill and I on the playground today. And Bill, when you feel it's time, tell me when to stop shuffling.
Now.
Okay, I'm going to stop. And then tell me if you want me to cut the deck or not.
Yes, cut the deck.
Okay.
And then the one that's on the bottom of that one that you just cut.
Okay.
Not that one. That one
this
is
one.
the one we're going to look at.
Okay.
No, the one on your
okay.
other one.
Here we go. The other one.
That one.
Okay. This is the animal who's coming to play with us on the playground. Parrot Spirit, number 45, asking us to watch our words. Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills. You know, the power of words and the frequency and vibration of words. And look at this beautiful rainbow parrot, Bill, with geometry.
Isn't that something?
Right, and it's number 45, which equals a 9, which is a completion. So thank you, Parrot. I'm going to put Parrot over here. And you have a fun story to share, just an amazing experience. I'll just hand the mic over to you now.
Okay. Back in 1980, I was having some very bad problems health-wise. My left lung kept collapsing over and over. And the first time it happened, I didn't understand what was happening. And a friend took me to the emergency room where they rushed me in, and they didn't have time to deaden anything. They just held me down and cut a hole in my chest and put a chest tube in my my left lung, and not in it, but between the wall and the pleural membrane. And then I just gasped and I passed out, and that's what I felt happen. And then after a few minutes, I just was looking at myself, and here was this lifeless body there on this table, and they were rushing around. So we've lost him. And so they said, get the crash cart. So they were doing all this, running around, and I looked at this pitiful body and I go, oh, just leave it alone. Just don't do anything. And then I looked around and I saw these people moving around, and then I felt these hands on my shoulders, and they were my guides, and they were saying, come with us. And I said, come with you? And I thought, oh, I didn't have pain anymore. I didn't have any suffering. And so as we flew along, it was like I was going through all the years of my life that I could just kind of fly over and see everything that happened. And I was kind of going backward in time. And it just was an instant. But everything that had happened, I was about 28 years old, and everything that happened up to that point was just played before me in a fast speed, you know, like it was very fast, but very visible and very understandable and very rememberable. And so as we left, we just took off and we left. And I don't remember much. I just remember that it was swirling, and it was kind of like in a bright tornado, and there were animals, there were people, there were all this kind of stuff, and we were all spinning around, and it was very pleasant floating feeling. And then I looked over and even saw cows, you know, like there were cows over there. And it was, I just
it's like Wizard of Oz in a certain way, like that.
Yeah, no, but it was very bright and very peaceful. In the Wizard of Oz, it was just sticks flying around and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and there was no Wicked Witch.
Okay.
But anyway,
Or that creepy music. Do, do, do,
yeah,
do, 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 do.
so anyway, what happened? As I got further along, it's just like there was another whoosh, and I was in this different place. And all the people there were people that I knew that had died. And there were people that I knew them, but I had never met them during my lifetime. They were like my grandparents. Some of my dad's parents died before I was born, great grandparents. And I had done genealogy, and many of these people were there, you know, looking at me, and they were just thrilled and they were excited to see me. There's no crying, none of that. It was just all joy. And so they were hugging me and saying we're so happy to see me. And I got to talk to everybody very, you know, and oh, isn't it wonderful to see you again and all this. It didn't dawn on me again, you know, it's just like I had never seen them in this lifetime, but they all knew me and I knew them. So
well, may I pause for just a minute? I'm gonna elbow in here. So I want to go back a little bit, because this story is about an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience. And
right.
Some people may have read this book called Proof of Heaven by Dr. Eben Alexander. And it's not the same experience that you're describing, but it's fascinating. And I'm just pausing you because I know the story continues, but this idea that you had guides show up, bring you like backwards through your life. Did you feel any emotional, or was it all just like visual? Like, did you have the feelings when you were reviewing the life?
It was very peaceful. I was smiling, and oddly enough, I've been having dreams like this recently, where I'm going back in time. And so it's kind of like a dream state that you think you're in, but it was far beyond that.
Wow.
I know that I've talked to other people that have experienced these type of things, and because I didn't talk about it at first, I thought that I lost my mind. You know, I just didn't really understand what happened. And there was no way I could know the people that had died before I was born. And
Right.
there's just
It's
no
not
way that I knew.
logical. It's not logical. Now,
And
I
so
just
what I'm going to say,
interviewed.
hey, this is what happened. And they say, well, this guy's going to have to be hauled off to the funny farm. And so
Well, it does bypass the logical mind, as we've been groomed in the collective conditioning of 3D. But I would just like to add that I've interviewed a woman named Raven, Many Voices, recently, and she walks a multi-dimensional medicine wheel. And to do that, to go through your life, it is walking the spiral backwards, where you actually do place yourself back in the womb and even beyond that. So
right.
It's fascinating that I'm just taking the first part of your first out-of-body experience and going, wow, look at that commonality, this idea of there's motion. And then you talked about the colors and the animals, and like almost like a vortex, but light, not the darkness of the Wizard of Oz, like a cyclone. So nothing scary, but just more like, where am I?
Joy.
Joy. Oh, joy. Because, you know, in our culture, one of the scariest things for Americans is death. It's
Right.
not necessarily how it's framed in other cultures around the world. Some see death in the Hindu religion as a gateway, a portal, a doorway, like we've lived and died many times. I think in America, we're still trying to grapple with, did I have a previous life, or is this only it? So it's very existential, but you know, it's evolving. So I just thank you for letting me pause, because I just wanted to get in there and go, oh my gosh, here's the circle, here's the joy, here's the light, here's your people, and meeting family that you knew they were family, but you'd never met them. There was just maybe this
Well, no, I knew who they were, and that I knew them. I knew them. It's like I always knew them, and I didn't understand why I didn't know them before that time. But when I got to this point, I felt like I was going back, but I was really going forward. Does that make sense? I was going backward in time when I could see my life, but I went back to where I had started this life, and it was like a continuation of what was going on. So it's kind of hard to explain, but I had a review of this life, and then I went back to where my life was before that time, which is all eternal. It just keeps going on and on and on. And so I experienced that. I experienced that eternal feeling that this is always going on. This is always there. These people are never gone. We don't die. We just continue a different way in a different body, and we just do what we have to do and do the best we can do. And you get to review that, and then you come, go back, and then you kind of start another one. Now, I've heard that you have a contract before you come to accomplish so many different things. And after the life experiences I've had, I thought, I don't want to do this again. And so I said, I'm going to get the best attorney I can find up there and figure out how to get out this contract so that I don't have to do all this stuff again if I have to come back.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just in the review of everything was just really pleasant. It wasn't about, oh, I did this wrong, or you should be ashamed of this. It wasn't this. It was more about, look at all you accomplished. The mistakes were not even there. It was just joy. Look what you accomplished. And
that's very different than my Catholic upbringing.
Yes.
We were really imprinted to feel guilty. It was a control mechanism, like don't, here's the 10 commandments,
Right.
don't break any or you're going to go to purgatory. Remember
Right.
purgatory?
Yeah,
That's that place of in between. It's not necessarily hell, but it's the gray zone.
I was brought up Catholic too, and I gave it up for Lent. So anyway, it's just beyond Catholicism and all that. It's the whole thing is much greater than all that. I feel that sometimes controls and shapes you in a way that's not what reality is. And so when I got back to, I went through this whole process, the joy of meeting these people again and reviewing, and it was about me reviewing what I went through in this life with them and what they had done in their lives, and all, it was just joyful. And this all happened, it seemed like, oh, it just went on and on and on and on and on and on. And then they said, you must come with me. And so I looked over and I said, who are you? And they said, well, you call us your angels, but we're your guides and we just take you. And I said, you call us a guardian angel. I said, I thought I just had one. I said, no, you need more than one. And so I went, oh, well, I guess so. So anyway, because my life had been pretty amazing. So went through, and there was this light that was so bright, and they left. And there was this light so bright. And what happened was, I don't know whether it was God or creator or Christ or whoever it was just this beam of light, but there was just this peaceful calmness, and not something that you felt like you were not worthy. It was that pure love, pure acceptance, so grateful that you're here. Gratitude was just always there, always there. Everybody was grateful. And so the joy that was there was just beyond belief. So I was told all these certain things, and I was told that I would remember some when I was going to have to go back, and I kind of had a debate that I lost. And
because you wanted to stay, you didn't want to.
I didn't want to go back there. No, I mean, this pain and everything that I'd gone through was just horrible, and I didn't want to go back. But you don't win these arguments, because somehow or another they can do whatever they do. And so anyway, I started to go back, and everybody saw me again, and they were just, I would remember some things when I came back. And then when the time came that I would be prompted to remember the things that he was telling me at this, or she, it wasn't a he or she, it was just this presence of knowledge coming into you. And I didn't hear voices, I heard messages in my brain.
Like telepathically. So if I could just pause for a moment. Wow. So the message that they gave you before they sent you back was really like, you could be like a living time capsule,
Yes.
like you'll remember at the appropriate time on this 3D linear in this lifetime.
Right.
So it'll be fun to see as you progress, like what might come through.
There's so many things. I'm 70, And so this happened when I was 28. So it's been a while. So things have happened. So I would be reminded of those things that I need to remember at the time when it was necessary to remember them. And it would come up that I'd meet someone, and that person, I would be told, this is one of those times. And when that first happened, I went, oh no. And I said, I don't know what to do. And I was very unknowing of what I'm supposed to do here. But, you know, and then it would come back, and then this person was familiar. And then I would go through this part. This one person that I met was going through a divorce, had 3 children, having a rough time, and he wouldn't leave me alone. He just kept following me everywhere. And I'm going, oh, and I kept trying to ditch him, you know, because I didn't, this was kind of bad. But anyway, uh, he was outstanding. He spoke several languages. He flew all over the world, working internationally for a company and promoting things with that company. And but I was just in awe of what he could do. And then I saw who he really was. And I thought, why do I see this broken person, but you showed me a person who was not broken? And the prompting I got was, I showed you the way he's supposed to be. Now you need to fix him. And I
Really?
said, fix him?
That's an
How do I
interesting
fix him?
mission.
And I go, oh, no, 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 no. Yes. And I couldn't, it's just not, there was no way I was getting out of this. And so what happened was, it went, a long story short, he got the divorce, he got things straightened up. I knew somebody that was a very dear friend that was a roommate with this other person, and just met her briefly for breakfast. They were living in Houston, and they came up to Dallas, where I live, to visit and have breakfast. And we went, she left. And then all of a sudden I was told, she's the one he's supposed to be married to. I
Oh
go,
my goodness.
no, I'm not a Yentl. I don't do this.
Matchmaker Bill.
I'm going, oh no, this is against all my belief system. This is not the way I feel. No, no, no. And there was no way I could get out of this. Well, they've been married like 30 something years now, and they're very happy. And it's just one of those things that happen. That's just one instance of how this worked.
Right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share one of these images that of the earth to help us learn about the focus for our conversation today, now being turned to this idea of prayer.
Prayer. So what happened was, as I was ending this session and they were getting ready to take me back, I looked, and I said, what is that way off in the distance? And they said, that's Earth. And I went, oh, wow. And we were way, way far away, but I could see everything clearly. And then as I noticed, there were these waves, like a mirage type thing, but all colorful, and all, it encompassed more colors than we can ever imagine. And as I saw it, there were small ones and medium ones and large ones. And as they went past, you heard voices of singing, just heavenly voices of singing, just go past, and it was unbelievable. And then as they kept going past me, the small ones were just unbelievable. Then the medium ones were more unbelievable, and the large ones were just knocked you to your knees. And I said, what is that? And they said, those are prayers. And the small ones are the prayers that people have for themselves.
So the small waves,
the small
energy waves coming from Earth towards you and what your guardian angels.
Going all around everywhere. It was just going through.
These small waves, you could hear the music.
Right, same thing. And then the medium waves were people praying for other people. And so they were even more beautiful and more grateful. And then the large waves that came through would just, like I said, almost knock you to your knees. And those are the mothers praying for their children. And when that happened, it just, I can remember just having chills all over me, and just, I just couldn't believe it. And so then I was told I had to go back. We were back into this emergency room area, and here was this lifeless, gray looking body. And I saw him and he took this shot of adrenaline and put it in my heart. And they kept working on me. And I remember gasping from my breath. And then whoosh, I was inside my body. And it was kind of like if you've ever woken up and you feel like you're falling, you're like, oh, I'm falling over. It's kind of like that, but more dramatic when I went back inside. And my toenails to the follicles on my head of my hair, the tips of them hurt. I just hurt so badly. And I go, oh, I do not want to be here. And so that was very difficult suffering.
You re-entered your physical body after
It's
having
painful.
so that it was easier to leave than it is to come back
Oh,
in.
it's in, like I've heard many times, if we knew what death was really about, we would have joy for the person who dies and cry when a baby's born. It's just,
Oh, that's
so it's just,
that's so
it's just
different
life
than
is
what we were
difficult.
taught.
It's difficult.
Well, I wanted to share this picture with you. It has the word prayer on it, and it's circled in water. And this is from a card deck by Dr. Emoto, who's no longer with us, but he was the Japanese researcher
Right.
with focused thought into water or music into water. But I wanted to show you this crystalline image of prayer. This is what the frozen waters crystallized into this gorgeous hexagonal or six-sided shape. So when you talked about prayer and these waves, it touched a part of me that, as I understand what's going on in the outside world with all the drama and the pain and
Mm.
suffering, and I was thinking, what's the antidote? Like, how can we help the whole collective, our global family? How do we move forward in this chaos? And having just met you and hearing your story, Bill, that experience of you feeling these waves, first the smaller waves of someone praying for themselves, like, oh God, please help me, with the music. But then the second waves of, oh God, please help my brother, my sister, or the Ukrainians, or the Russian soldiers and their families, just praying for someone else. But when my friend Jimmy told me what you said about the largest waves and the most intense waves, like almost felt like tsunami waves,
Right.
the prayers of a mother's heart, it just encouraged me to continue, one, praying for my own physical children, and I have two beautiful stepchildren and their families. But also, I feel there's a certain mother aspect that I can pray for my brothers and sisters globally, human family. So I just love to have you say a little bit more about that idea about prayer and why you think they showed you that from your out of body experience.
I think the thing is that how close everything really is. These waves, I'm telling you all this in slow motion, but it happened instantaneously. So there is no distance, there's no time, there's none of this. And the thing about the prayers that was the greatest was the purest love is the love that a mother has for their child. And so if we can obtain the prayers that we say always to be of that magnitude of a mother praying for their children, then we can accomplish an awful lot. And I think what it boils down to is to be very grateful for everything, grateful that you have the opportunity to know that person, know yourself and love yourself, and also know the others that you're praying for, and do it in the same tone and manner that a mother does for her children. Then we can accomplish an awful lot.
That's so beautiful. And it reminded me that no matter if our adult children may be facing difficulties such as whether they're depressed or melancholic or facing anorexia issues or getting involved with alcoholism or addiction with drugs, that this don't give up, that just knowing from that quiet space within a mother's heart or a friend's heart, you can send this vibration that will be felt not just on earth, but what you experience was it radiates out as a chorus of love. Now, we didn't learn those prayers We didn't learn that in Catholic school.
We
It was more
memorized them.
rote, but there was this praying was added to our dashboard, but how to pray.
No, we were taught to say the same thing over and over, which in many different religions, that's part of the process, but it is the purest part of prayer is coming sincerely from your heart and with love and gratitude. And so I think that's what we need to understand. And for the people that are just in despair, and I mean, my life was not perfect when I died. I mean, nobody's is. And I wasn't a bad person or anything. It's just that we all make mistakes. We all have done things. Oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I hadn't done, and you go through all that. But that guilt of, not to say that we shouldn't always try to be the best we can be, but that guilt of not doing everything perfectly was not there. It's not that you do it perfectly, it's that you do it with a pure heart and you
Oh,
try to do things in a pure way.
so you're moving from the mind that has recited all these prayers, so suddenly they're just, ritual, and you're moving into the heart space. I'm going to go back and remind you and I as we kind of wrap up, because let's see, here we go. I'm going to share this. I'm going to go back to how we started with parrot spirit. Watch your words. So the words that come from a mother's heart, from a father's heart. I was even sending prayer to my mother, who's not with us anymore, but just like, thank you. And to my grandmother, who's not with us either. But bringing parrot spirit, watch your words, with Dr. Emoto's prayer. It's this idea that the music, the love, this out of the timeline of three-dimensional linearity, right? You experienced something that was so profound, and I'd like to
Oh yeah.
invite you to come back, because I know you have
Oh
more
yeah.
stories.
Oh, I have a really big story about waves and prayers and music.
Music. Well, I just have one last question. When you were having the small to medium to large waves, did the music increase? Did you notice it, the volume?
Uh, it would, I don't know the word for it, but it was kind of like it penetrated more. It just hits you to the core of yourself. It went to the depths of your soul. Not that the others didn't, it's just that it just was more intense.
Wow.
As I got, and I think the symbolism of the small, medium, and large was just that. It was the intensity that I was allowed to see. And other people may see different things. I have read that other people have had these type of experiences that I did. Like this happened in 1980, and I read other people that wrote books. I didn't read any for a long time. And then I read this, and I can't remember who wrote it, but they were talking about the same thing. I go, well, I wasn't nuts. I wasn't nuts.
No.
So
Yeah.
it does happen this way.
Well, I
So
love that you're sharing today on a Sunday, and we'll post it later, but that maybe this was part of the perfect timing and download, because this beautiful image that you gave me, I'm hoping that anyone listening, if you get bombarded by the news and really fearful for what's going to happen next, that if you go within and do as Bill said he experienced, this idea of the power of prayer. And online, there's so many global prayer opportunities, but really the power of your heart. You just go to that quiet place within yourself if you choose to, and
right,
that is pure frequency, power, music, and color.
it is.
Yeah.
It's all very beautiful, all very beautiful. And I think that what happens is that we have things within our soul, the beauty of our souls, which is part of creation, and God. And we have that inside of us. And this allowed me to see what was inside of somebody else, just like they allowed me to see what was inside of me as I was going back through my life. And it was really all joy, because the experiences that we had are not, we learn from them and we move on and we become stronger and more productive souls in the future. And that's what it's about. But I had to come back because I wasn't finished and I
Yeah.
didn't want to. But
Well,
It
you
took many
played
years.
matchmaker and you came to the playground. So
Well, there's lots more.
there's lots more.
Lots more.
Well, I look forward to the next chapter of your amazing journey. Thanks, Bill, and hope to see you
Thank you.
again soon. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.